Thank you again. Let's begin with our question and answer period. The issues and considerations that you presented are so important, not only for the developed economies, but also for the developing economies of the world to be cognizant of standardization and certification and moving towards that eventual direction. We have the first caller from Tianjin, China, and the question is, you mentioned that today more than 80 tons per person of non-renewables resources are sacrificed to maintain material wealth in the U.S. and Europe. What is the estimated figure in the developing nations of the world? I assume your mandate for change towards sustainability and materialization, or dematerialization, I should say, is just as important there.
Thank you. I believe the estimated figure is about 20 tons per person. Yes, our mandate for change is very important all over the world. Globalization connects both developed and developing nations like never before, and is very important to synchronize all organizations and communities throughout the planet to sustainability and socially responsible resource management. Fast-growing countries like China and India have a special role in developing the competencies needed to make this happen.
All right, great, thank you. And we have a second caller from Escomex in Mexicali, Baja California, Mexico. And the question is, it is interesting to note that one of the 6 major forces characterizing the new world of chaos and change that we will continue to face during this millennium is the so-called technological and communications revolution, and that an information and knowledge-driven society will tend to be more sustainable. Is this one of the driving forces for the growth of IT and technology-based collaboration networks in education, business, government, and civil society today?
Yes, this is a good observation. Technology makes us all more efficient, less wasteful, and thus more sustainable. And the effective management of collaboration and learning networks will require massive training and certification of human networking skills and competencies at all levels. The pioneer of this effort in San Diego is San Diego Global Knowledge University through its unique distance activity global competency certification program. I suggest you visit their website at www.sdgku.com. This is an urgent and strategic investment all organizations and communities must make, since technology can also be very costly if it is not used with vision and sound planning.
Very good. We have another call from Universidad Politécnica de Valle de Mexico, UPVM. The question is, you mentioned that human capital is the new source of wealth and income in the new world we live today. If this is the case, don't you think governments and organizations in general should give education and lifelong learning and training a much higher priority than in the past, particularly with the explosion of knowledge of recent years? What can poor countries do about this?
Yes, this is part of the global myopia of many decision makers today, particularly in government. Education and training should be orders of magnitude more important in society today, and the only way to level the playing field for poor countries is through the use of technology and video-based distance learning with a common global language, which, like it or not, is English. I understand the ITC organization is planning to hold in the near future a major summit event in Beijing on this very topic.
All right, very good. Now we have a caller from UABC in Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. The question is, you mentioned that sustainable management will demand long-term planning, horizons of 10, 20 to even 100 years, rather than just simply next month or next year. This is particularly difficult for governments given their political agendas and cycles. What would you recommend we do to change this reality?
Well, there are countries with oil-based economies in peril within the next 20 years due to projected depletion of their oil resources, including Indonesia, Mexico, and others, whose decision makers have today a clear and immediate mandate for immediate action and change and sustainable long-term planning. Their governments can start acquiring technology and developing competencies to produce clean power through solar and wind-based generation plants and plan for the gradual integration of as many green power plants as possible. They can mandate environmental accounting in all government operations, etc. Long-term planning in such cases is really planning for survival. But the reality is that all country economics today are in peril if they do not view their medium and long-term future in light of the 6 major global forces I mentioned in my presentation today. If the political agenda of our public servants does not permit them to plan past their tenure in government, we should insist in reinventing political processes to synchronize them to our new global realities.
So true. Now, our next caller is from Lima, Peru, and the question is, from your explanation of the CMMI certification process, its implementation can be cost prohibitive for many smaller organizations. Is it safe to say that the most important contribution of the concept of CMMI is to develop a matrix management capability and standards of performance for organizations in general, so that investment in its human capital can be recognized through managerial process practices and certifications?
Yes, the concept is to promote the new global and specific competencies and capabilities that must be mastered by the organizations and their workforces to succeed in the new world by pursuing international certifications such as CMMI that will give them recognition, market penetration, and performance excellence. Global competition mandates this. Regardless of what standards and methodology an organization pursues, and this depends on its size, resource availability, finances, and strategic plan, the symbiotic benefit of measuring performance in any international certification project and striving together for sustainable decision and organizational synchronization justify the time and money assigned to these efforts by public and private organizations all over the world.
Right, very good. Now, our next caller is from UEES in Ecuador. The question is, we have seen a few global surprises recently, such as the terrible earthquake in Haiti. Do you believe the global community, with its current myopia and limited knowledge of global processes, can come together and cooperate in other future natural disasters which experts believe we will suffer in the months and years ahead?
I believe that independent of ideologies, religious beliefs, and economic interests, all nations and interest groups today must realize that these natural disasters can occur anywhere in the world and that we all need each other to minimize human suffering and other global impacts. I think the experience of Haiti is very encouraging because there was an immediate and unconditional help from international organizations, national governments, NGOs, businesses, and educational institutions. I am certain this spirit of solidarity will grow in the future, and a key element is to cooperate in sharing global knowledge and in developing the new competencies we all need to succeed in this new world.